So what about the present and the future in lieu of what Dr.
We have
Gemundo
grown
just said?
thanks to the sphere of influence of Dr. Gemundo, and we
need someone to furrow that path.
I mean, we know in education that we all have limited funds, so money has never stopped us. The enthusiasm, the energy, the volunteer spirit is there, but we have been fortunate. We have been able to sit, thanks to Dr. Gemundo, and I have spoken as well with the councils general that we've had. And so now we have a wonderful new Consul General, Consul General Francesco Maria Talò, who was preceded by our very good friend, Minister Antonio Bandini. And they have supported us consistently each year with several thousands of dollars, which offsets the printing of the poster. In addition, the Columbus Citizens Foundation have come to our rescue, and they are the main leaders of the Columbus Day Parade, which we know gets international visibility.
Exactly.
So we are getting some support. Then we do annual appeals, and then simply we're asking for donations. I must say that recently we had two wonderful functions, one that was not meant to be revenue producing, but on the 200th birthday, the eve of the birthday, 200 years ago, of Giuseppe Garibaldi, this year's theme, we had a wonderful concert out in the park at New York University. And it was wonderful. We had close to 500 people, 200 people in the seats to correlate with the 200 years of Garibaldi, and then the Richmond County Orchestra. And everyone was so excited about that it aroused even more interest. And just last week, on September the 13th, we had a wonderful fundraiser. It was located this time on Long Island. We hope to move it around to the different boroughs. And through this event, we honored Dr. Gemundo, Dr. Catherine LaGuardia, the granddaughter of Fiorello, on the occasion of his 125th year of birth, as well as a benefactor, Nicholas Valastro. And through their good efforts and the people who attended, 382 strong. And that was a great endeavor. We will be able to see ourselves for the next number of months. And yes, I would like to follow up with Dr. Gemundo to see if regions of Italy, even one a year, we're not looking for tons and tons of money. We would love to identify an Italian-American benefactor who would perhaps underwrite it each year. And that would assist us greatly.
Well, hopefully Italy and Italian America, and on this sort of scholarly level, those two worlds have been brought together a little bit, and hopefully we can also do it in a more general sense, a more community level, and a cultural level in the broader sense of the word. Exactly.
And I think this is also part, as we know, in secondary education and higher education, that young people, not just Italian and Italian Americans, want to know more about their culture. We're hearing, less about joining small little groups and chapters, but at the same time, we're hearing people want to know about their heritage, their culture. And of course, as we know, I think that the Italian Heritage Culture Month Committee, especially through Dr. Gemundo, who's fluent in more than, as I believe, 3 languages, we know that he himself pushed for the advanced placement in Italian. Now, what has that done? Even through our committee, each year we spoke about it. Fortunately, through the Italian government and other organizations, the funds were created so that now the AP in Italian is being offered. How will that help us? This means that young people at high school, in college, will be looking forward to our materials each year. So I think we've stirred up the pot. We're encouraging the continued study of heritage, culture, and language. It's all very positive.
I just wanted to say something that this we are incorporated as Italian Heritage and Committee Culture Committee of New York. Not month. My view was the month should be one activity of the committee. That this should be an organization that will promote Italian and Italian American culture throughout the year. My dream was never realized.
Yeah.
And that was to have a permanent building dedicated to that goal. Right now, the closest thing that comes to that is the museum that Chelsea is working on, and maybe we can link up with them. But my idea was a little different. Not just but an institution that would continually promote Italian heritage and culture, both Italian and Italian American culture, and through that institution, promote such things as art, music, language, theater, and throughout the year, so that the month will be only one activity of many things going on throughout the year.
Well, let me say it's lasted. It has progressed over 30 years, and I think that, and the same thing about the museum. I think you've laid a really solid foundation. I just speak from my own experience of the last 10 or 11 months that I've been a part of the committee, and it's clear that there is a foundation.
I do want John to pay special tribute this year to John DeSantis, who is a graphic designer, artist, and he did such a wonderful job on our poster, our brochures, our bookmark, the special brochure that was designed about the life of Garibaldi, which John Devaney had authored and put together. There's so many people to thank. Nancy Indelicato, who is doing something very exciting on September the 29th, the Saturday, will have a New York treasure hunt dedicated to Italian sites. And young people will be gathering at 9 o'clock in the morning at the consulate on Park Avenue, and then they'll head out to these different 7 sites, ending up at the Garibaldi statue down at, again, New York University. And these kinds of activities stimulate the pot, and they're so important because the more that we travel back and forth to Italy, we all know it because the 3 of us have been there and wish that every Italian-American go back and forth. But the Italians that I meet want to know desperately about our experience. What was it from the time of the immigrants? And we, I think, want to know about how Italy became the country it is today from the time of our grandparents. Angelo himself, whom we honored last week, is an Italian-American success story.
Exactly.
And I think that people want to know, how did Angelo come and do what he did? And we want to know the success when we're over there in the different regions of Italy, the quality of life and the studies they have. It's not just the museums, the art, the heritage, but wow, did they pick up speed in that last 100 years? And I think through Italian Heritage and Culture Month, I think we're going to be able to do it.
And you were instrumental in an early fundraiser at St. John's. St. John's was generous to give the use of the auditorium. Berardo Paradiso sponsored the singers, and that was, I guess, the first fundraiser that of the Italian Heritage and Culture Committee that I had attended.
And the aftermath of that one event, which has been the same after everything we've run, everyone calls up the next day and says, when are you going to do another concert? When will you have another event?
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to happen in the month of October 2007. The booklet is filled with activities.
Well, let me ask you, in fact, the booklet this year is a little longer than in the past. No, it's come to, I think, 84, 88 pages. So on that little note, I guess my question is, where are we going from here? Where do you see us going from here?
I think in trying to perpetuate Dr. Gimondo's vision and carrying on that legacy, that tradition, because that's something I believe in strongly. One doesn't have to start anew. I think now we are getting much interest from the surrounding contiguous states as to what we are doing. For example, Connecticut want to see what is it that we do for culture, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, but even as far as states that are not contiguous, which would be out in California, wanting samples of everything. And that was one of the reasons why this year, for the first time, we have a copyright on our materials. We have no problem about duplication, but we definitely want credit to be given to the committee. And I think in the future we're going to try to assemble some kind of a federation of members where they could link up with us so that when the materials are ready, we could distribute them widely with our permission and say, now take it, for example, to the state of Massachusetts, where you have a state commission, and publicize that this year's theme is Garibaldi in Massachusetts and eventually across the country. We know the President of the United States will declare October Italian Heritage and Culture Month, but it would be great if he would say this is in sync with the theme of Garibaldi, and all the states should celebrate it. So that is my dream and our dream.